I was one of the ravers, couldn't get enough of it. House music, acid house, breakbeat, you know, going into jungle, drum and bass. Drum and bass was jungle with different elements in it.
The DJs aren't going to the clubs because there's no clubs anymore, so they have to up their prices to claw the money back they would have got. And it's putting the pressure on the promoters every time they want to do booking.
I'm not going to blame Ibiza, but their animal is completely different. They run a 14-week brutal season. Yeah. So you can see why the bidding wars go on.
Going to a club these days, it's 50, 60, 70, 80 euros just to get in a club.
It was an ecstasy scene more than anything.
What's the most amount of money you've ever earned on a remix?
Oh, do I even want to be saying this stuff? Society and Clubland, before the acid house scene hit, sadly, it was very black and white. Yeah. I did Glastonbury, for example. We closed the dance tent on the Sunday, and there was about 40,000 there. You know who David Bowie is, right? He just come running out going, what the f*** is going on in that tent? All I can hear is
Hey guys, just a quick one. Some of you may not know, I also own a sport and music festival. 30,000 people, 400 teams competing. We've got 10 festival arenas, loads of celebrities, people dance on tables, fancy dress. People come for 3 days. We've got camping, we've got glamping, there's 3,000 campers. The party really does go off. Last bank holiday in May. Go check it out. Really is the place to be. Bournemouth7s.com. See you soon. Micky, welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you. Been a long fan for ages.
Thank you very much, mate.
Finally got here.
We're finally here, mate. Nice one for making the effort.
You're welcome. 6:30 this morning.
It was a 6:30 start, wasn't it? Fair play. Let's roll all the way back. How did you end up becoming one of the biggest drum and bass DJs in the world?
Ooh. I suppose we have to go back to acid house.
Yeah.
I got into acid house as basically when it started. First time I went out to Futures, which was one of the places where it started in London. My mate went to me, "You've got to come out to this club, have one half of one of these things." Sadly, and I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. I already had decks at that point, but I was into hip hop. Yeah. I was into jazz funk. I still am, but at that point, 87, 88, I was heavily into hip hop, jazz funk. So when the acid house thing come along, house music, and the ecstasy that went with it, I basically couldn't get enough of it. The hip hop took a back seat as with the jazz funk, and I just was buying house music. And I never had decks I never wanted to be a DJ.
Yeah.
I'd mostly wanted to be a long distance lorry driver, if I'm brutally honest, because there's a lot of them in the family. And I had decks just to do tapes for myself because I didn't like the DJ talking on the radio while I was trying to tape him. That's how I went about and got turntables. I suppose I started in the acid house scene as a punter. I was one of the ravers, couldn't get enough of it, and slowly but surely my DJing career took off, but obviously we were nowhere near drum and bass at that point. We were still house music, acid house, you know, going into breakbeat, jungle techno, jungle, drum and bass. So there's been a lot of genres, and there's a few of us, Groove, Fabio, Jack Frost, we've seen them genre changes from the very beginning. I don't know. I was maybe a bit of in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. So what would you know when you go and you went through the music, you went through the house, then you went into the jungle, then went to what was it when you found drum and bass? You were like, right, this is mine.
I would say drum and bass, it was a genre that kind of developed out of jungle, a bit like when we were talking earlier about garage. So we were already in the jungle when the transition went from jungle to drum and bass. So it was almost like a
natural progression.
Yeah, it was almost like football with some rule changes. you know, it was drum and bass was jungle with different elements in it, so to speak. I would say, and yeah, I just I was in the right place at the right time, I guess.
So before you got to this, before you got to the DJing world, what was your life like growing up?
Shit. I had a shitty childhood. My dad brought us up. My mum left the home, I don't know, I was about 10. So I ended up in trouble. I got thrown out of school when I was 15 for theft of actually a French. It ain't funny, but it was a French student, teacher assistant. He had a really nice Alessi ski jacket on. I laugh because you got the Sergio on, not because I got nicked for theft.
Yeah.
And me and one of my mates, we took his jacket and I got nicked for it. So they threw me out of school. I was getting in trouble with the police, nicking cars, theft. So I ended up in detention centre when I was 17 for 4 months. Didn't learn my lesson. Come out, back in trouble with the police again. So I think from 17, I had my 18th birthday out. Then I went back into youth custody when I was 18.
What for on that second time?
Burglary.
Yeah.
So yeah, me and a friend would, even though I now live in Kent, when I lived in London, we would venture out to Kent. So I got nicked for burglary, domestic burglary, and done 12 months in Rochester. I come out of Rochester when I was 19. I'd had my 19th birthday in Rochester. Come out of Rochester when I was 19. Got nicked again, went straight back into Dover. So I had my 20th in Dover.
All for the same sort of stuff?
Dover again was burglary, yeah, and theft. And I think it was Dover where it was like the penny dropped, where I'd had enough and I weren't good at it.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people don't admit.
Yeah.
But they were telling all these stories in prison and it's like, look at where you are.
Yeah.
I'd had enough and I'd always been into music. And then the acid house scene come along and I just fell into it like an hand and glove, really.
Yeah. Amazing.
Lot of partying, it was brand new. So if you take Society and Clubland before the acid house scene I'd say it was sadly, it was very black and white.
Yeah.
I hung around with a lot of black kids, all different races, but so we'd go to a lot of black clubs. This club was very white.
So you were South East London, weren't you?
Yeah, I was born in East London.
Yeah.
We moved to South London. I come from Stepney, Mile End, but we moved to South London when I was about 8, 9.
Whereabouts?
Woolwich.
Okay.
So we lived on the border of Woolwich.
A lot of naughty people have come out of Woolwich over the years, haven't they?
Yeah, but they are really nice people as well.
Absolutely, lovely people.
Yeah, we lived on the border of Charlton and Woolwich.
Yeah.
Which really strange. I was saying to my missus the other day, when we moved over from East London to South London, we had a big park near us. We thought we moved to the countryside.
Yeah.
Like, little did we know, Woolwich is not the countryside at all. But to see big parks with deers in and we was like, wow, look at this. But yeah, we still carried on. We couldn't get in school in South London at first. So we had to go to school still in East London. So we had to literally get 2 buses and a tube to school. My big sister she'd become like our mum. She would take us to school. She would have to leave school early, get us back to South London. But I'd say, the teenage years, I started going down the wrong road.
Yeah.
My brother started going down the wrong road. My dad was already down the wrong road, which I love him dearly, but you know, when I was getting brought home by the police, instead of giving me the idea of my life and learning a lesson, he's telling the old Bill, why don't you take your uniform off and come round the corner and leave him alone? He's protecting you. Then I was going, go on, Dad. But now I'm like, well, that's not great.
Yeah.
You know, I've been quite neurotic with my kids that they're not going to live the life that I led, and I don't want them sending out VOs or basically going down that road. So yeah, I had a bit of a shitty childhood, really.
How did you first afford to buy your decks?
I think Mark mentioned it. When I lived in Woolwich, strange, I was having arguments with my girlfriend at the time, so I was sleeping downstairs on the couch, and then early this one November morning, it was like bang, 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 and I run out onto the balcony. I mean, no one was used to seeing police with guns in the country in '87, so I automatically thought they were filming until, you know, I could see the fella laying in the front. He was dead and there was blood coming out of him, and there was, okay, they're not filming. I run back indoors, got the camera and started taking pictures of them, even though they were shouting at me, you up on the balcony, get indoors. But I just carried on taking pictures of them, and I had a deal with the Daily Mail. I think I made, in the end, I mostly made about 10 grand out of the pictures. Yeah. So that's what I bought my first decks with. And then I had decks, but they weren't Techniques. Yeah. So that's what I bought my first Techniques with. And then it was lose yourself in the bedroom. I would literally buy records over eating. Yeah. I would starve, not on purpose, but it was more important to me to have the tunes, and I can go without food, but I can't go without the tunes right now.
So what was your journey like then? You've done the acid house, you're now going in, you found drum and bass.
I mean, before drum and bass was even there, I'd say that I become big up north before I did down south, to the point where Birmingham especially, I'd say that Birmingham was the city that really welcomed, like, where I kind of spent a lot of time, a lot of parties, to the point where when people started booking me down south, they'd put Micky Finn in the Midlands. They didn't realise that I was from down south.
Until you spoke.
Yeah. So that a lot of them thought, because I was up there a lot, they thought I was from the Midlands. So I owe a lot to the north, and I love the north. I kind of got to the point, I found London and down, especially London, their weekdays were not a lot different to their weekends.
That's right.
Where when you go to places like Birmingham,
they save up for that weekend, don't
it's
they?
party time at the weekend, and you really do see it. And I'm not just saying Birmingham, up north. Yeah. You know, anything past Watford Gap. Yeah. So I literally leave London on a Thursday, and I won't come home till Monday. I'd literally.
Can you remember what sort of money you were earning back then?
Yeah, like if you was getting 2.5, you were doing all right.
Yeah, we're talking 100 here.
Yeah,
yeah, okay,
yeah, 2,500 quid.
Yeah,
I mean, I can mostly go back to me and Groove, and I'm sure Groove won't mind me saying this. Looking at each other, and at the end of the night, 50 quid. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Club's just closed. Do you want to go Red Records?
Is that right?
And me and Groove would go home, and we'd leave straight from there, and we'd go and spend our 50 quid that we just earned on more records. It was about the records. I mean, the wages today that some of the artists get, I can't work it out.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what sort of money they get in for a set these days? Some of the big ones.
Yeah.
What sort of numbers?
I mean, you know, there's some of them out there getting, and they don't touch the house and techno scene. Yeah. I don't think, for what some people get paid in Ibiza, for example. But yeah, you've got people on 5s, 10s, 15s.
30s, 50s.
Yeah, you're mostly talking a few niche ones up there.
Yeah. Like?
I don't know. You mentioned Chasing Status.
Yeah. I paid them 35 grand for a set at my festival a couple of years ago. They're now going at 250 at festivals.
Really?
Yeah.
What, the same 250 quid I was just talking about?
So yeah, 250 G's I think last year they were going out at for the whole shebang.
I mean, they you know, they're a bit of a, they're great. They've been around ages.
Yeah.
You know, they're unbelievable at what they do. I suppose when you're kind of doing Milton Keynes Bowl and you're having the success that you are, and you know the game. They put arses on seats, and that's what the game's about.
Yeah.
250 grand. You niche your market down to
big festivals who can afford to pay it. That's essentially it.
Maybe that's what they're ready to do with their careers. Just like put the money up.
Yeah.
I don't want to work as much.
Yeah.
I mean, I turned 50 8 years ago, and I just rung my agent and I went, right, calm the work down.
Yeah.
Like I've been doing it since I was 21, 22, and it does, you know, even though I love it, it will consume your life.
Yeah.
You know, my son DJs, and I've said to him, you know, you've got to put some perimeters around yourself, because it's an industry that will just, you'll be still 12 o'clock at night, you're on the phone.
Yeah.
It never sleeps.
Yeah.
So I just put some, right, shut shop at 6 o'clock. Like I'll get up early.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do work at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I treat it like a job, as in a lot of people, it's a bit more a part of their life. It is a part of my life, but it's a job nonetheless. It's a career.
Well, you've earned the right for that as well, right?
Yeah, I'd kind of
30 years plus in the game.
I think you will end up being, if you're just giving your partner or your family crumbs of your time, you're just going to end up a lonely old man.
Yeah.
You know, now they are my priority. Work, not knocking the work, but it's work.
Yeah.
You know, so I just turned 50 and went, right, I want my life back a little bit. There's certain things that I want to do, and I have to cut down the work to be able to do that.
In your 20s, how did you see, how long did it take till you saw your sort of rise in fame, where people are like, my God, have you seen Micky Finn? Have you seen what he's doing? Because all I saw in the 90s were your tapes everywhere. Micky Finn tapes, Micky Finn this. How long did it take for you to really rise to fame in that industry?
I could mostly safely say by 90, I was off.
Yeah.
91, they'd never had 91, me, Fabio, Everson, Alan out of Rat Pack, and our agent, Sarah, we went out to Japan. Dan had DJs out there before.
Yeah.
So we were the first people to kind of go and ground break that DJs in Japan. So yeah, I'd safely say by the 90s I was kind of off and running.
Yeah. And
then by 94, 95, 93, 94, 95, it was
exploded.
It exploded.
Yeah.
And I was a part of an agency that basically just had me, Groove, Fabio, Jack Frost, and Brian G.
Wow.
And our agent.
Yeah.
And then Bookham joined after, Ray Keith joined after, but then when it was them five who I just said, I'd say she was mostly the powerfulest agent in the scene.
Yeah.
In our scene anyway, because she had 5 individuals that
big hitters,
and we were out every weekend. Yeah, we were doing sometimes 3-4 gigs in a night if they were playing right. And Sarah was brutal. She was a really good agent. Sometimes she was too aggy.
Yeah.
Not in an horrible way. She come from a really good background, but she just knew she was a woman in a man's world.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
And she was brutal with it, you know, and she knew the camp that she had. and how powerful they was within the scene. So she took no prisoners.
She had the ace cards on like 4 or 5 of it, didn't she?
Yeah,
all the aces.
Yeah, she had a good little roster there. Really.
How did you feel in like coming through as a white man in predominantly black music, right? The drum and bass. Did that have any effect, or did you have any sort of knock-on effects of people a bit aggy? Who's this bloke think he is, or anything like that along the way?
No, I didn't see it at all. Couple of because I just see more not with artists. More it was usually with the crowd.
The crowd, yeah.
Until they saw me with the record box.
Yeah.
Or they heard the name, and then it was, oh, sorry, mate.
Yeah.
I'd say a couple of fellas were about to rob me, or try to rob. It was going that way. Asked me the time in the toilet. I didn't. I literally had a little banger one with some diamonds in it and a bloody rare Tagua watch. And then someone walked in the toilet and was like, Micky, and then they started backpedaling.
Yeah.
Oh, right, mate. I was like, that's too late for that, mate. I could see what was going to go on.
Yeah.
No, but not I'd say for how long we were out there doing it, no, not at all. I didn't even think about it, Dodge. If I'm brutally honest, because of my mates and how I grew up, and the parties we would go to anyway.
It was the norm.
I would, no, I mean, a couple of maybe mates that would come out with me now and then from the countryside that like would be like, Jesus Christ, are we safe in here? But no, I never thought about it. I had some funny situations once, Electric Ballroom, where two black girls,
cracking venue,
they're standing in front of the DJ booth and I'm working and I can hear them going, he's fucking white. He's white. And I looked at her and I started laughing. She was like, you're fucking white. And I was like, my mum and dad, they're also
white.
Right? She was like, sorry, I just thought you was black. I was like, no. Me and Brandon was in space once, back in the day when we was partying, and Nigel Ben walked in. Me and Brandon walked over to him. Nigel, Brandon obviously knew him previously. Yeah. Nigel, Micky Finn, and Nigel Ben got me in an headlock. He was like, who is this C-U-N-T? Micky Finn's black. I was like, I'm white. I'm white, honestly, I'm white. And he was going to Brandon, who is this? Micky Finn's black. He was like, no, he's Micky Finn. You got him in an headlock, Nigel. Do you want to... Seriously, it was so funny. He was like, mate, I thought you was black. I said, dude, I've heard it a million times. I come off at Astoria once and big scar down his face. He just grabbed me like that. He was like, you got black in your family, ain't you? You can't play music like that. You can't play music like that if you ain't got black in your family. Which I haven't. Yeah, I haven't.
Tell me, you're talking about some of the clubs, you do like 3, 4, 5 gigs in a night. Give me an example of where you would be, like at peak when you were doing that. Give me an example where you jump from that club to that club to that club and go, right, I've done my night's graft now and I've come home with X amount of dough.
Sarah would usually try and, especially when we were really busy, she would try and work a route that would kind of fall on itself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, start in Manchester, work your way down.
Yeah.
I mean, one night, I remember that I'd say the most brutal night. I've done Wales. I drove from Wales to Nottingham to Milton Keynes, then down to London. Then I had to go pick up Darren J and GQ. We drove to Gatwick. We missed a plane to Paris. It was for a friend of mine, so we couldn't blow it out. I then drove from Gatwick down to Dover, got on a Sea Cat, drove to Paris, and people was like, Harry, chemically assisted, mate.
Yeah, of course.
Sadly. They were the days when And yeah, that I'd say that was the most brutal drive.
Yeah.
Only chemically assisted once I knew that I had to drive to Paris.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, I ain't going to do this. No. But I'd say, yeah, Sarah used to always try and plan a route that worked.
Yeah.
If you were doing, you had to. You try and Manchester, Wolverhampton, Coventry, and work your way down the M1 or the M6 M1. Or if it was somewhere right over on the north, say Doncaster or Hull, she'd try and bring you back in round that.
Okay. Would you drive yourself to all these?
Nah.
No, you'd have a driver there. Just
I even now, and I'm happy to go and do one on a Friday and one on a Saturday, depending on where that is. I'll still have a driver because it allows me. I mean, everyone to their own, but because I do other business and I get up early, sometimes by the time I got to leave, I'm battered.
Yeah.
And then it allows me to carry on doing business in the car.
Yeah.
I'll have a kip on the way home. If he pulls up on the drive at 5 a.m. and I've been asleep for the last 4 hours, I'm still getting up at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, perfect.
So it's a business move for me, as well as just trying to utilise time as best possible, really.
What's that feeling like, Micky, when you're on doing a set, about to start set, you come on and look at the crowd and there's whistles going, there's foghorns, everyone's nutted in there, everyone's just loving life, every geezer's next to another bloke loving life, and just everyone just mingling, and you're there orchestrating the whole lot?
It was weird for me because I got thrown in the deep end quite quickly. I'd say I've mostly been DJing 6 months, and I got thrown in front of 8,000 people.
Whereabouts?
It was round Surrey. It was the first World Dance. So it was around, I think it was 89. And I got thrown in the deep end, like baptism of fire, quite quickly. I used to get, I would just go, sometimes you don't until you see the video and go, bloody hell, is that what was going on? Where you just zoned out and doing your job. But I used to, I love some of the, I don't want to sound like an old stig in the mud because I know certain people don't like this, but the energy and everything about the old days, it's just a bit of a different animal now.
Yeah.
You can really see the business side of it now. And I know safety and everything that goes with the punters being safe is paramount for me, even when I was promoting, people were like, oh, squeeze another 200 in.
No.
It's not worth the money to have to make that phone call about
someone's,
it don't add up to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, the buzz, I'd say some of the big world dances that I did, and the first time I did Glastonbury, for example, which was year 2000, me and Aphrodite, who I made a lot of music with, we closed the dance tent on the Sunday.
Yeah.
And there was about 40,000 there.
Yeah.
He actually turned to me and went, you've got to start, Have you seen that out there? But again,
what an experience, mate.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I come off at the end. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
You could not see it. The tent was full, and then it was so deep outside as well. And I come off, and our stage manager, she come up to me. She went, Micky, you know who David Bowie is, right? I was like, I grew up on him. I love him.
Yeah.
She went, he just come running out going, what the fuck is going on in that tent? All I can hear is foghorns. It's like Wembley. She went, well, it's Micky Finn and Aphrodite. And he went, who the fuck's Micky Finn and Aphrodite? And I just looked at her and I went, he said my name.
Quality.
Even though he said, who the fuck's Micky Finn and Aphrodite? I went, that'd do me. That's enough. That's enough for me.
Yeah.
that there is some really, I suppose, great memories that I'll cherish forever. Like kind of Well Dance again. They did I think it was called the NEC. What was it called? The big gaff on the Isle of Dogs, not the NEC. Docklands Arena.
Okay, yeah.
Docklands Arena. They did the Docklands Arena, and someone come up on a stage. I was just after midnight or just before midnight, and he went, "Look up on the balcony," and I looked up on the balcony. And I was like, "Is that Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee up there?" And he went, "Yeah." I went, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
He went, goes to the driver. Where any parties going on? Yeah, I know of a party going on. And he went, "You brought them to Well Dance." They didn't stay long. But just seeing some funny sights like that. But yeah, I'd say Well Dance done a lot of epic for me ground, and they was a world leader in taking that warehouse party to legals that for me still look like a warehouse party.
Yeah.
You know, in importing all the sand and having a beach and, you know, production out of this world that you don't see a lot of today, because it seems like 75% of the budget nowadays goes on the artist.
That's right.
Where before it would be 25% on the artist.
And then they have a lot of production and making it look beautiful and here.
You know, and it just seems like the wages that everyone wants doesn't rise with a ticket, because the people won't pay that.
Yeah. The promoters won't pay it. What's happening now, because there's less and less festivals going on, the promoters aren't going to be paying this money they're asking for. They're not. The DJs aren't going to the clubs because there's no clubs anymore. So they have to up their prices to claw the money back they would have got, and it's putting the pressure on the promoters every time they want to do a booking.
I mean, it's. I'm not going to blame Ibiza, but it needs to be looked at, because their animal is completely different. They run a 14-week brutal season, so you can see why the bidding wars go on for the residencies. But I think that kind of wages that the clubs in Ibiza agree to pay individuals, DJs, then come home with them.
Yeah.
Then it started going everywhere. Then everyone's prices are rising and rising and rising. Yeah, which is a shame, really.
It's a double-edged sword, to be honest with you. Because there's less people going to Ibiza because of the cost. And you go to a club these days, it's 50, 60, 70, 80 euros just to get into a club.
I mean, I used to run a company called Sunbeats, which was a week long, bit like what you do, but this was a week long holiday clubbing. So we basically take them on the Tuesday, on the Monday we take them into Eden, on the Tuesday we take them to Paradise, on the Wednesday we take them to the back room in Privilege. On Thursday we take them to Sankey's, and we accommodate them and everything.
Is that right?
Yeah, we'd accommodate them. We done a band only, bit like I suppose what you do. We done a band only if they wanted to get their own accommodation, and the band would be higher, or they could buy a bundle off us where we put them in an hotel. That was really messy, but I think because I kind of done that holiday thing since early 2000s, you kind of you start to understand that you are the pacemaker.
Yeah.
So whatever you do, so you got to watch how many boat parties you put on.
Yeah.
Like we'd put 2 on in a week because you're forcing them to get up after they've only been in bed for a little while.
To go again.
To go on the boat. Then your night time's going to get hurt because some of these are going to fall over.
Yeah.
So you are the pacemaker. If you like it or not, it's down to you to set the pace of, have they still going to have legs after 7 days, or have you just burned them out in 3?
Yeah.
You know, so it was, I love Ibiza. It's a very beautiful island.
It's a magical island. It's lovely.
There's something very, very spiritual and beautiful about Ibiza. I go there sometimes. I don't even see the nightclubs.
Same.
My missus ain't into all that. She wants to go on
Nice lunches and go and check out the coves and beaches and stuff.
Yeah. We was laying on the beach one day, second day on this beach, and I went, babe, do you want to have a look round you? We're only on a nudist beach, aren't we? I'm like, I'm like, oh, we got to go, matey over here. He don't care, but that's Ibiza.
Yeah.
That is, you know, that's what Ibiza's all about, and why it's such a special place. Yeah, it is a beautiful island. Can get you with banging trouble.
Yeah.
I think the first time I went there, it was like, I'm missing another flight, babe. Until the point where she's like, if you don't get on that flight, your gear's outside the door. I was about 6 days in.
Yeah. We've all done it, haven't we? The funny thing is, that's the country with the most people who miss the flights.
Really?
Yeah. Fact.
Really?
Yeah,
What,
mate. Ibiza, yeah.
I bet it is.
Just another couple more days, darling. I'll be back.
I bet it is. I mean, back in the day, like in the 90s, you'd miss a plane. We ain't no discount airlines. You could only fly into Ibiza and out of there 3 days a week.
Yeah.
I think it was either a Sunday and a Wednesday and a Friday, if our memory serves me well. And if you miss your flight, you literally go up to the airport. There'd be a couple of people there. They'd have
Yeah.
They literally all went through them. I don't know if you know Shaggy, Martin. I don't know if you travel. Martin was one of them. He used to be a holiday rep. So yeah, you go and see Martin, and Martin had all the airlines just go, we got a load of free seats and
pile them on.
Yeah, Ibiza is a beautiful place, but I got to the point where it's just like, I don't want to promote anymore.
Yeah. Did you find, well, the thing is, the hardest part of any party is the promoting bit. Like, you've gone from a DJ where you're guaranteeing your money. Well, look, you know what you get in, come rain or shine, all of a sudden, what made you wanting to become a promoter? Were you thinking there's more money in it? Or what were you thinking?
No, I suppose a bit. I went in the studio because I was like, there's a lot of shit music about, I'm going to have a go.
Yeah, okay.
That's why.
What year are we talking here when you started promoting?
We bought Innovation, me and the ex-partner. We bought Innovation off of Kiss, and we started going to 99.
Okay.
99 maybe. I might be wrong. I might be 2000, but it was 99, 2000. And we just hit the road running with it straight away. I knew a lot of the artists, obviously. Yeah. My ex-partner's background was record shops.
Who was your ex-partner?
His name was Lloyd. We went different ways. My idea of business and giving people a good time was not his idea, and we just parted ways.
Amicably?
No.
What happened there?
I didn't like certain things, how they wanted to operate, to be honest with you. I'll leave it at that. I want every penny I deserve.
Okay.
I don't want no money I don't deserve, but I want every penny I do deserve, and I just felt it started getting a bit penny pinching.
Okay.
Yeah, but we first started doing the holiday thing out in Lorette de Mar.
Oh yeah.
That's where we first, right, okay, we done 2 pontings at Camber Sands.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get them out away from their house for the weekend. Once we done them 2 successfully, it was like, okay, they're prepared to come out of their house.
Will they fly?
Now let's get them out of the country.
Yeah.
And it was sitting outside Mambo. I've known Avi since he opened Mambo, and he's a good friend of mine. And it was sitting outside Mambo and just sitting there going, why hasn't drum and bass got nowhere to go in the sun?
Yeah.
Look how strong this music genre is. Look how many people around the country or the world go out every week to drum and bass jungle, but yet we've got nowhere to go on holiday. So we went about setting up, we just called it In the Sun, and started taking people to Lorette for a week, and with a weekender built in that week so people could arrive for the weekender.
Yeah.
And I've done it for a number of years with him, and money's not my king. Happiness. Yeah. I'm more I'd rather be happy and skint than a load of money and unhappy.
Yeah.
I know loads of people that have got a load of money, they're unhappy.
Very unhappy, yeah.
So I just weren't into, I just weren't into the little ploys to try and get money out of people, if I'm brutally honest with you. It was, yeah, I've done this. Okay, well, I'm your partner.
Yeah.
I'm not in a dictatorship. I'm in a partnership, and you need to have my agreement that that's cool. And I don't agree with it.
Okay.
So, yeah, we parted ways. I just thought I'd rather be happy and know what's going on with my name than, you know, earning loads of money and I don't know what they're up to. So, yeah, we just parted ways. And I had a little 3-year break, and then I started Sunbeats. Exactly the same concept.
Yeah, but you done it by yourself, or did you bring another partner in?
I had other partners. Darren J was one of my partners, and then I had a number of different partners in Sunbeats where I just couldn't act Ibiza. And then it got to a point where it was like, this is hard work. It ain't. I don't mind not making money,
but don't want to lose money.
Yeah, you got to the point where it was like, right, 5 years down the road, Ibiza's an hard egg to crack.
Yeah, but your business model's hard, all inclusive with the flights and the hotel and putting on the price. That's hard to earn £1 note out of that, because people have only got a certain amount to go, I'm in for the week. It's very hard, that is.
Yeah, I done a deal with, early days I done a deal with Thomas Cook, where they supplied me a number of planes and hotels and
guaranteed seats at a certain price if you book them early.
Yeah. And then the next year I just went, no, that don't work. We're having nothing to do with planes. You can't touch Squeezy Jet and Ryan Scare. No. You can't touch them. So let everyone book their own plane. Yeah. Or if you want to get a ferry or drive through Spain, up to you. We're having nothing to do with that anymore. And we just put them in hotels, bands, boat parties, and just try to let them. I know a lot of holiday reps and holiday companies like, stay with us. Like, we want to whatever. We was the opposite. I was like, go and enjoy the island. Yeah. Like, there's so much here to see. Yeah. You're not going to try and, if they want to go to the zoo or they want to go and experience, people landing on this island with a tick list. They let them go and tick it off and go and have fun, you know, and then they come back to us at night. You're going to lose a few because the zoo is mayhem and you might lose a few that night. But for me, it was about letting them go and have some fun and having the time of their lives, really.
Let's go back to the UK. Who were the best promoters in your eyes back in the day? The ones you really enjoyed working for?
Jay, Dance, Mike and Grant at Slamming. They're really cool to work with. Boys up north, I'd say Majika up in Birmingham, Jez at Coast to Coast. There's loads of there's loads, and there's some of them still there, and some of them jumped out. You know, some of them fall by the wayside, or it's not a bit of them anymore. Because, you know, one thing, last year to this year, so much has changed. You got to have promoters have got to have their finger on the button all the time, because they can look dated quite quickly if they haven't. And there is still promoters there now, like Mike and Grant. I'd say they excelled. They do the big fireworks show at Ali Pali. They're not just, they're a big production company, so they do a lot of background stuff. Like, I think maybe they might have been behind when Hospital was at Finsbury Park, for example. They were all their shows, and so I'd say there's a lot of still good promoters out there. But one thing that jars me a bit with today's promoting is they expect artists to be social media experts for them. Yeah. And I'm cool with posting for what parties you're on, but then it's, can you post it again? Yeah. And it starts to make your socials look a bit shabby, I think, if you're just over posting the same parties, and it can make you look like you're in trouble. Yeah. and not doing so great.
But you can understand why the promoter would want to collab with you.
Yeah, totally.
But but when you're receiving a collab, you got to look at it and go, do you know what? That's a wicked clip. You know, I'll collab with that because that looks good on you and it looks good on them.
Yeah.
It's done right.
Oh, I'm totally up for, you know, our agency and my agent. We're always give something to post. Like we're trying to educate them with. As soon as their algorithm sees over 20% of that image, is text.
Yeah,
you're an advert.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's gonna pull your reach back.
Yeah.
Just put on the bare minimum. Like, where is it? When is it? Just put on the bare minimum, because their thing just scans you and goes, that's an advert, hold his reach back.
Yeah.
Us as an agency, we are pro the promoter. Obviously, we're pro the artist that we look after first.
So you're an agent. What's the name of your agency?
Urban Agency.
So it's Urban Agency, what you've got to that. How many years you had that for?
Oh, Jesus. 20.
Is that right?
Maybe.
And how many people you got on the books? Roughly.
50,
okay,
maybe around now.
Yeah.
So we're pro drum and bass and jungle agency, but the promoters are our bread and butter.
Yeah,
like I am not into how you said you got talked to.
Yeah,
and I've been spoken to like that. Yeah. I'm not doing business with them people.
Same.
I don't.
Why would an agent be rude? Why can't you just be nice? We're offering you money. Why don't you just come back and have some niceties and build a good relationship rather than, no, want more. Well, someone else has offered more.
The boys in the office, like, we're very, first of all, they're not rules, but how we go about things of looking after an artist has come from me being an artist. So we're quite thorough.
Yeah.
How far is the airport from the hotel? How far is the hotel from the nightclub? Yeah. What we want to know that because we want to look after our artists and we look after them. But the same goes, we want that promoter to do really well. Yeah. We want him to come back on the phone.
So book again.
Yeah, we don't want him going down. So why do we try and this is, we don't want to iron promoters out.
Yeah.
As in some agencies don't care if they do.
Yeah. We
don't want promoters to drop off because that's another person we can't send artists to. And the boys in the office have been taught, and look, we're just a shop.
Yeah.
All right? Be polite, have manners.
Yeah.
You ain't going into a shop when the geezer goes, look, mate, do you want these effing jeans or what?
Yeah.
You're going to walk out.
Yeah.
We got that kind, it's
just nice to hear.
It's just
common courtesy.
I don't get the super agent thing.
No.
Like if I look at it like a cab office, it's like, mate, you just answer the phone. It's the cab that I want.
Yeah.
Like, can you send me a cab? Like that is literally that easy for us. I don't know if it's because I haven't gone to university and got a marking degree, but I know a lot of the big agencies decline. They've been taught that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Decline the first offer. Don't care how big it is. Decline the first offer, which I don't know. We want to work with people. We want to make it work. Not.
Do you think the agency though is demanding too much money for their DJ or whoever it may be, that the following year that price is going to go up? There's going to be a point where the promoters just can't afford it. The way the world is at the moment, and people aren't partying like they used to since 2020 and 21, 22, 23, and we're seeing the decline in the partying. There's going to be a point where the promoters just walk away, I can't afford to pay you that.
And it has been happening.
Yeah, it's been happening. I've seen it.
I mean, we lost a lot of people, a lot of promoters. The amount of money that we refunded got to be me going to my partner, I don't want to read a figure anymore.
Yeah.
It was a big, huge figure, but you got to do it.
Yeah,
that's their money. The party hasn't happened. I know agencies were going, we're not.
Yeah,
like I don't know. I just feel like a thief.
Yeah, here.
We're holding on to these deposits. Give me it back. It puts us in good stead
for future stuff.
Yeah, if we come back out the gate.
Yeah,
but we lost a lot of promoters. They went and got normal jobs, and they stayed there.
Yeah.
Even they didn't come back to promoting it. I mean, I'm sure you heard loads of stories, and it still ain't 100%.
It's definitely not 100%.
No, it's nowhere near it. And now you've got. I said to my partner John at the agency the other day, this OnlyFans thing.
Yeah.
Where's all this money coming from?
Yeah.
These people ain't all rich. So surely that's got to start nipping into other things that person was planning to do, and are some of them things going out?
Yeah.
Because I've never been on it, but all I see keep popping up on Instagram is this girl earns £1 million a month. This one earns 700 grand a month.
Yeah. They're unicorns, by the way. There's also hundreds of thousands of girls who are earning £300 a month.
Right.
But no one talks about that. I had a fella on the podcast, or he's coming out soon, in fact, and we told the whole podcast about OnlyFans. Like, fuck, tell me the business model. And he was like, bam, 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 unicorns earn the big dough, but there's so many people just scrambling around. But they're scrambling around. I'm like, so that girl's gone and done all that. All her mates and her brother's mates and have all seen what she's done, but she ain't getting proper dough for it. Like, imagine how degrading that is. I wanna move on to your music. You producing music.
Okay.
What are your biggest tracks you've produced over the years?
I'd say the first, Some Justice. I'd say, I think Groove was. I played it to Groove when I made it, and he was like, "I reckon you do 10,000 of that, Mick." Okay. And I was like, "Wow, yeah, we did 100,000 of that." Well, we did just under. I think we did about 98, and then I had Pete Walkman on the phone.
Quality.
Wanted me to come in for a meeting, which I did. A load of people was like, "Mick, come on, mate, Hitman and her." Like, I'm going to listen to what he's got to say.
Absolutely.
I'm all ears. I've always been all ears.
Yeah.
And I got on with him like an house on fire. And he wanted to do a label deal with us, and I was like, "Okay, your distributor's Pinnacle." I had a record shop at that time as well.
Whereabouts?
In Gravesend.
Okay.
So I had a record shop for about 15 years. So to have an account with Pinnacle, you have to give them a big pile of money, and they don't do enough music to service independent record shops.
Okay.
Let me bring in an independent record distributor. Pete went, "Bring him in."
Okay.
So we'd done a deal with Pete would give be the independent distributor, loads of records to go and service all the little independent shops, and then his Pinnacle would deal with HMV, Virgin, and all your major kind of record shops that had to have big, huge accounts. And I had a great relationship with Pete. I got on with like house on fire because I think...
Was he straight talking?
Yeah, he went to me straight away. He went, "Mickey, you have got a better deal out of me." I pinned him, I nailed him down. You've got a better record deal out of me than Kylie Minogue, Musical Youth, anyone. You absolutely just hammered me. I'd kind of learned a lot by that point, and it ain't a lot different. And well, it is completely different than being on the street.
Yeah.
But I just, when you know you've got something they want, not to be a dick about it, but it's
nice
like,
feeling, of course. Yeah.
What are you
offering?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we even got him down to, if I have to take you a court, you're paying for my lawyer. And he fell over.
So there we go. Quality.
So you never want to let me take you a court, Pete. Pete was a dream to work with. It didn't come out on PWL, even though it was backed by PWL. It still come out as...
PWL?
PWL was Pete Walkman Limited.
Okay.
Which was what all the big
went with, wasn't it?
You name any of them people that was under Pete, he was a hit machine. It was all Stock Aitken and Walkman become PWL. So it all stayed going out as a little independent label, our label, but it just had the machine of PWL behind it. So it got in Woolworths, it got in, I'd say, we end up doing a couple of 100,000 of that, I think.
In what form? In CD form?
7-inch.
7-inch.
Tapes.
So tapes before the CD. Okay, so we're talking what, early 90s? Mid 90s.
91, I think we signed Some Justice to PWL, and then we done a 94 remix of it with another tune of ours called Arsonist, which had a kind of ragga Jamaican vocalist on it, and a lot of remix work that we did. We were doing we were doing a lot of remix work. I mean, we had one company. I won't say Sony, but it was Sony. They wanted us to do a remix. I mean, it's a long time ago, so whoever the person was, I was like, mate, we ain't got time. We ain't got time. We got to... I drop you off an 8 of a Coke. What? We'll drop you off some Coke. You start. Well, I was like, no, mate. It's not that we don't want to do it. We ain't got time to do it. We've got a whole list. I was like, fuck, mate, a rental company just offers you to drop you off fucking cocaine so you can do work for them. Like, we didn't do the remix anyway. We got offered, I think we got offered 30 grand to remix I'll Get Knocked Down, but I'll Get Up Again. Do you remember that tune?
Yeah.
So my partner was like, we could do that. I went, nah.
No.
No.
Reputation.
You will get knocked down. We won't get back up again.
100%. Yeah.
Like, listen, there's a limit.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it for I'd always do a remix. Can you contribute? Can you do something with this? It's not about taking the money for me. I didn't need to take the money. And, at that point it was, can we think we can do something with this tune and bring it into our world more to the point rather than just take the money and run. The No Diggity story was really for we did a remix for Blackstreet of No Diggity, and it was me, Darren J, and Aphrodite. It was Darren was working with Universal at the time, so it come through Darren. So when we completed the remix and it went back to Universal, they said they didn't like it. I was like, okay, fine, money please. Like, we don't do remixes until you like them.
Yeah.
That's what we done. And they said, well, we're not paying it. So anyway, that got bootlegged. They would have been better off paying us, because I think it was 10 grand or something.
Yeah.
They got charged remix fee, and it got bootlegged, and I think about 50 grand got made. But the funny thing is, they told us Teddy Riley didn't like it. Teddy Riley's the person behind Blackstreet. Fast forward 5 years, the woman that I ended up marrying was an American. A little brother was Jimmy Iovine's assistant. He was also the person that found Eminem. And he was in them kind of circles. So he rings me up from LA one day and he was like, Micky, I'm in the Interscope office. I got someone here that wants to talk to you. It's Teddy Riley. I just played him your No Diggity remix. He's going absolutely potty. He's never heard it before. So he come on the phone and I was like, Universal told us that you didn't like it. He went, they never played me this. It just, I don't know why someone in the office mostly just took a bit of a disliking to the tune, but he'd never heard it before. He was like, oh, I'm working on a new album and I've got to fly you 3 out. This is brilliant. Nothing ever materialised with it, sadly, because I would have liked to have worked with a king of swing. We did a lot of remixes. We did a lot of remixes. I think the more...
Did you enjoy remixing?
Yeah, I used to like... If we could contribute to the tune...
Yeah.
I used to love remixing. If they go, do you want to do a remix? And then they'd send you to go, look, it's just a vocal here.
Yeah.
Okay, can you do us a remix? No, you can't do a remix of just a vocal. So you want us to build the track for you again. You're not giving us a remix fee.
Yeah.
So we started getting points, production points, as well as a fee. So basically, forever and a day, if that gets played, you do all right out of it. But yeah, I used to love doing a remix if they were good remixes to work on. Some of them, Jungle Brothers, I'd say, because they were so tight with their vocals and everything, I'd say a night's work.
Yeah.
To get that remix out there. And,
well, it'd take you a night's work.
Yeah.
But that's the talent in you, right? Someone might take them 3 months, 2 months, but the talent in you knows, bang, that's going to work.
Yeah. And
Did you find that easy to go, boom, there you go, have a listen to that?
Yeah, I mean, and I met him out in Miami. Obviously, you always go through the record label. You always go through the record label. But I met the Jungle Brothers out in Miami. We was just walking along the beach, and he was like, "Mickey, we was about to throw the towel in." That resurrected our career. We was about to throw the towel in.
Wow.
So that was
That's a moment, isn't it?
yeah, that was quite cool to hear.
Yeah.
And that was how many we're walking along the beach in Miami, and they're in Miami to do a gig. And it's so many years after the remix was out, you know, and then they're going around touring again. Yeah, that was that's quite a moment for you to, you know, that I like that. The Loonies remix was me recording in Kiss. I had a special with a reggae singer singing at the beginning of the Loonies. Basically, me and Aphrodite made it, and Rodigan was in the studio next door. I could see him through a window. He was live, and I went, turn like so you can listen what I'm doing in this studio, and he could hear what I was playing, and he just went to me, bring that in here right now, bring that record in here right now, and he played it live on like there and then. And by the time I was pulling out a Kiss, my phone rang and it was Virgin, and it was Andy Thompson, who used to be the head of A&R over at Virgin. He was like, "Mickey, you've made that, ain't you?" I went, "Yeah." He went, "How much do you want for it?" I went, 10 grand, done.
Gutted just asked for 30. So
yeah, so we started doing remixes and sending little ransom notes of them to the record company. Did you want to buy it? And sometimes it worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, we you know, we just do duck and dive like that back in the day. I've always had this thing that if you find a job you love, you never do another day's work in your life. And I love it. Yeah, the travelling gets me down. I don't tour at the moment. Again, like I said to you, I turned 50 and I wanted some of my life back, and they can get me on a plane to Amsterdam. I'll go and do the Jungle Weekend. I don't want to. Some people was asking me the other day, when you come back to Australia, I was like, I just can't see myself doing that at the moment. The living out of a bag. Good luck to people that do. I just hit a bit of a wall with it. And I want to get home to my family.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of other projects that I work on over here that I'm enjoying. It's not for the love of working. It's everything that goes with it.
Yeah. What countries do you love playing in? Tell me the countries you've played in, and then give me your top 3 countries where you're like, my God, that's the pinnacle for me.
Australia.
Yeah.
I love Australia.
Yeah.
I didn't say about Australia just now because I don't like it. I love Australia. I love beautiful country, beautiful people, bit of a slog. You know, I went and done a weekend there once. Literally, it was, your feet don't touch the ground. I think I took off on Tuesday with a time difference. You end up getting there Thursday.
Yeah.
I done a gig on Friday and Saturday, and I was back on the plane Sunday morning. But I love Australia.
24-hour flight.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't take my eye off that it's work.
Yeah, okay.
You know, I'm not going on holiday. I wouldn't do that for an holiday. Yeah. I'm going there because someone's paying me to do a service. You know, my mates go, hold on a minute, what, you drive there, you do an hour's work, and you get that? Jesus.
Yeah.
I love Asia.
What parts of Asia?
I love Thailand. I've been going to Thailand and working there since I can remember. I find it's really safe.
Yeah.
People really nice. You know, I just which are really important to me. I went to Jamaica once, and it's just, I love Jamaica, but I just don't want to go on holiday where, you can't go there. I want to go at 2 o'clock in the morning. I want to go at 2 o'clock in the morning. And why? Which is that was the only thing that I found a bit dodge with Jamaica. Yeah. Canada, I love. America, even though America's this big, huge, I found it a bit too far to go for a load of bollocks, to be honest with you. the parties were a bit. I don't know what they're like now because I ain't been for a while, but I didn't want to go on tour and do 14 shows, and 10 of them were like that.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather not go.
Yeah.
I'd rather go and do 3 shows and they're all great.
Yeah.
Canada, love Canada. They're up for it. The Europeans, Germany.
They know how to party, don't they?
Yeah. Germany.
Yeah.
I'd say there was a point
Berlin.
where, more. For the drum and bass and the jungle, it was more Mannheim, Heidelberg, like the other side.
Yeah.
That was really, really cracking. It was just really weird to go. The second place that drum and bass and jungle was huge in the world was Germany.
Is that right?
Oh, it was at one point. Yeah, we were out that you had artists going out there. You'd be meeting artists at the airport. They're going different parts of Germany. Yeah, Germany was on fire at one point. They couldn't get enough of it. They loved it.
What sort of year is Germany?
When jungle was on fire, like anything, 95, 96, 97, all the way up to, I mean, you still get parties there now, but it just ain't on fire like it was back in the, I don't know if anywhere is on. New Zealand seems to be really happening right now.
New Zealand?
Yeah, New Zealand is...
Small country, yeah.
Yeah, New Zealand is really happening right now.
I lived out there for 6 months.
Did you?
Yeah, mate, loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, the good thing with them is,
Nice people.
Australia, you haven't got a lot of cities.
Yeah.
So you literally do your Thursday, Friday and Saturday, or even your Friday and Saturday, and then you've got to go and park up for the rest of the week somewhere nice, usually. Yeah. And then you go and do the next weekend of cities, and then get out there. And New Zealand's we're touring people, our artists out in New Zealand and Australia quite a lot, and then they usually Asia on the way home or like that.
I absolutely love Japan as a country.
Yeah.
What did you find when you were there?
Never been anywhere like it.
It's like being in year 4000.
Yeah.
It's another planet, another world, isn't it?
I found straight away that, when you've been there, you go people, when you go to that country, it's a bit like that. Yeah. You can't say that about Japan. Yeah. You're never going to go to another country like Japan, or unless there's other places out in Asia. I've done Japan a few times. Last time I ate meat was actually in Japan.
Is that right?
Yeah. Well, if you're going to stop eating meat, you might as well do it with a Korean barbecue. I love Japan. Really, really. We did Tokyo and Osaka. Very, but lost in translation, major effect.
Yeah. Like no one speaks English. When you get in a cab, mate, do us a favour, mate. Can you take us to the nothing? It's quite bizarre. It's quite surreal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like all the signs are all like there's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. First time I went there, I was right, mate. Can you get some weed? It was like, you can't do that here, mate. I was like, what? I was like, mate, just tell me where the models hang out. I'll go and find it myself. Just where do all the models hang out? So they showed us men. I won't say who because he might not want me to mention him. We just marched down to where the models hang out. I ended up getting slaughtered for an 8 for weed. Just tell us where it is.
We
can't find it. And then done. I think it was about 27 quid in a cab looking for Rizzlers.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's go back to the festivals in the UK. How many festivals you done? Which festivals you done? Done Glastonbury?
Yeah. Glastonbury, Boomtown in
Winchester. Do you enjoy that?
Yeah,
it's good, isn't it?
Yeah,
great production.
I'd say that is one of the festivals that is because of I love art. Yeah. So the art installations and just making it a bit more.
It's magical when you go there, isn't it?
Just a bit more parties. Yeah, just a bit more the music. Yeah. I'm actually in the forest. I'm in that this year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What they call that? I don't know. Lost in forest. I don't know. I'm in the forest anyway. Yeah. I love Boomtown. I think Boomtown is is a contender that Glastonbury need to keep their eye on.
Yeah.
I mean, Glastonbury
Nothing
will
will
always
ever compete against Glasto.
no.
Yeah.
But I think when you didn't have anything on before to go, I can't go Glastonbury.
I'll go
Boomtown.
Yeah, I hear you.
I think they've got a bit of competition now. No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
It is the first time I went Glastonbury, I just looked at just the water mains and went, oh my God, the infrastructure just to give this place water.
It's wild. 210,000 tickets.
I
think there's like 30,000 people working on the build or something. It's something crazy.
Oh yeah, I think
something crazy.
Oxfam give them 30,000.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of campaign, that program they do where they're allowed to go out and they work for free.
Yeah.
I think they have 30,000 staff there.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I love Glastonbury. Is
where else? Boomtown, Glastonbury. What other ones?
Jesus, God, you caught me on the hop with that one. What's the one down in Devon I used to do? Is that Run to the Sun? What used to be not Broadmasters?
You've got Boardmasters, which is in Newquay.
Yeah.
What's that, 50,000 people? It's very young, that one.
Yeah, there used to be another one. I think it was just called Run or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, what other festivals? Jeez.
Do you enjoy the festival? Do you enjoy festivals more than clubs?
If they're done properly, like the Reggaeland thing, I did that last year.
What's that called?
Reggaeland, which was at Milton Keynes Bowl. Done really well. I like to see. I don't want to see my personal thing. I don't want to see someone call something a festival and they got 4 tents in a field.
Agree.
It kind of
agree. Takes away the word festival, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just. I just think there's a bit more to. I don't think the entertainment value is just music on something like Glastonbury. You've got so many things you could do outside of music. Boomtown, you've got so many things. You know, I like to have a little
quirkiness around.
Mill around and...
Yeah. It takes us 2 weeks to build our festival site.
Wow.
Yeah. And then takes a week to bring down.
So is it like right...
Next to the airport here.
Okay.
Down here in Bournemouth.
Right,
okay. Coming into year 18 now.
Really?
Yeah, still independently owned.
Wow.
Yeah, no big corporates have got anything to do with
are they looking? Are they?
Yeah, I've had for years people.
Yeah.
Your Live Nations and your other ones looking to, you know. But I don't want to be cuffed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can sell shares in it. They can buy it. Imagine being told what to do when you've never been told what to do all your life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Throwing parties and festivals and stuff. And all of a sudden, someone's got you going, no, you ain't doing that, or no, I want the toilets there. No, you're booking that artist. You're not doing it.
Yeah.
I'd find that hard.
Yeah.
I'd find that really hard.
Yeah, and it's there's a bit of. I mean, I you know, there's a bit of shit being thrown at people like Live Nation right now for what they get up to.
Yeah.
Is
that with the Oasis tickets?
Just no. I've seen they got this big thing going on out in the States about the peanuts and parking.
What's that?
So basically, they give someone £1 million advance.
Yeah.
An artist.
Yeah.
And it's artists that they've started to ail them out. So they give them £1 million advance. But that £1 million advance can only come back in off ticket sales. Well, artists have started saying, well, hold on a minute. Why not get no money out of the hot dog?
Yeah, okay.
Why not get no money out of the parking?
Out of the booze and whatever, yeah.
So if my advance has to get paid back to you through ticketing, and then you can, 2 days before this $100 ticket, you can sell for $10 because you're going to get parking and peanuts out of it.
Yeah.
That's not fair on the artist.
Yeah, okay.
So loads of artists have started buying themselves back out of contract.
Right.
Live Nation hate me right now.
It's the truth. It's what's happening, right?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think I get it, you're in it a business, but you ain't doing great things for music, which I'm totally about contributing. Do you contribute or do you contaminate? Like, I want to contribute. I'd see moves like that as a bit of contamination. Okay. You're not doing nothing for the artist. You're actually... So I saw this artist saying, so now they've put it on sale, I'm not paying back $100 out Dodge.
Yeah.
I've only got $10 paying against my £1 million advance.
So when you say like £1 million advance, are they saying, like, we've got to sell X amount of tickets before you can really start earning more money, or do you can trigger your £1 million?
No, they're basically, I suppose, a bit like rental companies. They'll wrap up an artist and go, we're going to give you £1 million advance.
Yeah.
then you start working them shows
Drawing
back.
it back. Okay.
But you can only pay us back through ticket sales, where we know there's a big
merchandise, food, beer.
There's a big old pot of money.
Sponsorship.
You know, you imagine that car park round the O2.
Yeah.
You imagine the drinking in the O2.
Yeah.
For a big artist that's on 15,000, 20,000 people. Yeah. That's a big old.
It's up. Of course it does. Yeah.
That's a big old pot that you're getting none of.
Yeah.
I mean, I when Michael Jackson was alive, I think I heard the story that he found out what they got from the car park at Wembley, and the next year he went, car park's mine.
On a piece of that. Yeah.
You got high taxes over here.
Yeah.
So he just what the tax man's just done to me, I'm going to put it back onto you. He's like, I want that car park. It all adds up.
Yeah. How would you explain Micky in his 20s?
I'd say I was still a bit lost. I knew that I didn't want to be in that life anymore. I was still finding my feet as a DJ, and I suppose it was all a bit of fun for a lot of us. No one knew when it was going to end. We were just brand new craze of, you know, this acid house scene and like Summer of Love, and I think we was all having a bit of fun, and if you do all right out of it,
it's a bonus.
Yeah. And we're here 35 years later, and made a career out of it and other businesses. I was a bit reckless, I suppose. I experimented with drugs.
Drug of choice?
As a kid, I got into drugs early. I don't know if it's boredom, come from a split home, a state kid. I'm not saying all kids, because I had friends that still now won't touch an anodyne. They're totally clean. But back then, I mean, even when I was a kid, I was smoking and doing acid. I think we washed coke up before it was called crack. I just knew it was called freebasing. I had a couple of goes at that. I was like, fuck that shit. I'm not into that. Ecstasy, coke. I'd say, especially 90s, coke really didn't take a bit of an old. You know, I don't know when through the 90s, but I suppose it was an ecstasy scene more than anything. In the early 90s, really. Never really been into speed, or I like to get my head down. So as soon as it was like stopping me from sleeping, I didn't really like it. But yeah, they were. My brother, I suppose people different. My brother was anti-drugs, but was a beer head. Or he loved to drink.
But then when you compare people who love to drink getting aggy compared to people taking ease and stuff, completely different, right?
Oh yeah, Mum, I would have a debate with my mum. She'd be like where I'd be smoking. She's like, look at you fucking just sitting there. I'm like, Mum,
I'm being creative.
I don't want to beat my sister up.
Yeah.
You want to have fights over something that happened in EastEnders. Like, if you want to go down the police station on a Friday night or the hospital, we'll see what your thing does. And we'll see what I do. Like smoke, drink. Let's go and have a look at the damage that. But I've never been a drinker. I feel I see too much shit that brings as a kid. For me not to. You were in pubs as well, right? So our family had pubs. And if they didn't have pubs, they had someone's front room that might as well have been a pub. You know.
Growing up in pubs was amazing, but also very naughty as well, because you saw everything as a kid. You know. From 4, I think I was 4 to 18 or whatever, growing up in boozes and flats above pubs, you see everything. Especially when it's doorman on the door, bouncers, and you see everything a kid shouldn't see, but then after make you streetwise very quickly, you know. Wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, our family, and not my immediate family.
Yeah.
My mum had 7 sisters, so there's 7 sisters, and they were like the men of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could all have a tear up. I'm not talking a woman tear up. I think I can remember seeing my mum and her sister smashed a granny out of a parkeeper because he locked me and my cousin in the park. Like fighting like men. It was just they used to have a few tear ups and not just the women, the men as well. But I've never really I'd never took to drink.
Yeah, it's a good move.
Good move. I'd have a couple of. I think it might have been a bottom line that me and my mate woke up about 15 in the gardens of an old people's home. We'd been asleep in the mud, and I went, I can't do this. Yeah. What are we doing? I obviously can't handle drink. We're waking up in the garden of a. So yeah, I was never. Have you
ever done a gig where the promoter hasn't paid you?
Yeah, most probably.
Can you remember?
I most probably, yeah. Where early days, like you're looking for the promoter at the end of the night, he's gone.
Done the off skis, yeah.
Now it's all like we don't move 100% up front.
Yeah.
Because it just makes, and like I heard you say, there ain't a lot of cash, so promoters don't want to be walking around with a big old pocket full of envelopes anyway. It makes life easier, I suppose, just to wire it all beforehand. I did have the opposite one night though, where the geezers paid me, chewing his face off. I'm not exaggerating. 5 minutes later,
paid you again.
He's only back paying me again. So I was like, Tone. He was like, what? I went, you just paid me, mate. A lot of other people back in the day, I would have. That's your fault. You're paying me twice. Yeah. I was like, you just paid me, and he started laughing. I went, mate, I'm not joking. You just paid me. He went, you're joking. I went, no, like 5 minutes, dude. Like, look at the state you're getting in. Like, you have your head on.
Tell me about drum and bass. If you explain the drum and bass back in the mid-90s to where it is today.
I'd say a bit more. You're going towards the end of the 90s, really. I'd say drum and bass now is a lot. For me, is a lot more mechanical. I don't know. I feel like some of the art and soul's gone out of it.
Okay.
I don't want to sound like. Me and Brian G was in Germany a few months back, and I was like, Brian, I just feel like it's lost some blackness. Like jungle was very, even though it was spawned out of house music and the acid house scene and its whole, but you could see it was very reggae influenced. Yeah. The breaks were old funky drummers, like most of the time. So there's a lot of groove within jungle. And I find that missing today. I find now producers, back in the day, if you could have something that was wrong, but it was right.
Yeah.
Like someone might have been slightly singing or something might have been out of tune, but it worked. And now you've got every bit of equipment. If that's wrong, I'll make it right for you.
Yeah, okay.
And it's
overproduced. Yeah,
it's just it's very mechanical now, and I just feel like I could go right, Ronnie Size. I could mostly say what you listened to as a kid. Goldie, I could mostly say what music you listened to as a kid. I weren't around you as a kid, but I can tell by how you produce and what you produce, what kind of music's influenced you. Now I can't. I don't. I just feel like some of the producers of today, it's it's got no. I don't want to. It's hard to say. It's just I feel like there's something missing.
Okay.
And the music's quite throwaway now, as in I can still go out this weekend and do jungle sets. That music's 25 years old, 25 years plus.
Yeah.
I couldn't see that happening in 25 years' time with today's music. Personally, you've got ones that stick out like Chasing Status, but I don't think there's nowhere near as many of them as what there was back in the jungle days.
Yeah.
Personally, they're very. You don't get you had loads of Chasing Statuses, or you had loads of different individuals with their own style. Now you've got limited amount of individuals copying each other's style. Okay. I find it a bit samey. Yeah.
What are your top 3 drum and bass tracks of all time? Started with number 3, going up to number 1.
You could have let me know this before I come down.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah. I don't know. I couldn't answer that. I'd say for me, one of the most consistent labels that have been there from the beginning of the jungle right up until now is V Recordings. V, which is Brian and Jack's label. I don't know. That would I'd have to have a good think about that. I couldn't even think off the top of my head.
Give me off the top of your head one track, just one track that stands out. You're going, yeah, for me that's a banger. If you had to listen to that for the next week, going, yeah, that's the one.
Let's Get Jazzy. Ronnie Size.
Yeah.
They made a lot of groundbreaking. Peace, Love and Unity, I think, is a really great tune, which was Fats and on Hype's label. If I had to, they'd mostly come from the jungle scene rather than the drum and bass scene. I think there was a lot more classics made around then than the drum and bass scene. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'd have to have time to think about. But I'd say Let's Get Jazzy really stands out for me. Let's Get Jazzy.
And what about the top 3 artists? What stand out for you?
Who have stood
test of time.
I mean, Groove is a powerhouse, and what I love about Groove is Groove's very humble.
Yeah, it's nice to hear, isn't it?
Groove's a very humble person, and like I said to you earlier, his circle's really tight. He's almost he's got a bit of a force field around him that's hard to penetrate. But me and Groove been friends since the beginning of our careers, basically. We catch up. Yeah, I'd say Groove. As a producer, I mean, I don't know now. I don't know what he's up to. Shy FX. Shy. What I admire and I've got a lot of respect for about Shy. Shy does his own thing.
Yeah.
And there's too many sheep in our thing and not enough shepherds. Like I don't have to be validated by anyone. I do something. Some people ain't going to like it. Some people like it.
It's what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to try and make and do things for everyone to like.
Yeah.
You know, and I think Shy's one of them people. He's very groundbreaking in his production. He doesn't follow what everyone else is doing, which I love that. You know, I'm quite the opposite. What's everyone doing? Don't do it. What's no one doing? Do it.
Yeah.
So I've always had a lot of respect for how Shy carries himself, and in his DJing and in his production.
Yeah.
Is his own man, which I think goes a lot further for anyone wanting to be a DJ or a producer. Don't follow.
I think it creates longevity.
Yeah,
that's what it does. Yeah.
You want to try and become your own. Yeah. You want to try and become your own man rather than I don't want to be a carbon copy of. Yeah, I like him, but he sounds like him.
Yeah,
I don't want to be known for that. Yeah, which. I haven't. I've always just gone and done my own thing.
Yeah.
I don't really want to be in that caught up in you know.
How would you explain Goldie?
Goldie is an artist.
Yeah.
You know, Goldie's an artist in everything he does. He's a lot more in depth. He's a deep old individual. He's Goldie, and a character.
Yeah,
you know, big, huge character. Mm. But he is his artwork, be it his graffiti work or his production, has serious layers to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I hook Goldie up with. I buy a lot of my art. I've been collecting art for years, and I've been buying a lot of my artwork. I buy off Eddie Locke. He's an art dealer, so I hooked Goldie up with him, and they, you know, that's when Goldie took off doing all his graph work again. And when you study his work over someone like Banksy, his work's superior.
Yeah.
Like in the stenciling and of how many layers are in it, the kind of mixed mediums in it. He's a very deep individual, and a very different one since he's been out in Thailand and he cleaned himself up. Goldie's a big individual in our scene.
Yeah. How many years have you been clean for?
Bloody hell. I mostly stopped taking these in mostly the late 90s. So if it weren't the late 90s, early 2000s, I think where I was just into them at an early age, it's just like, I've kind of had enough.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, I've had the, you know, great time. But the other shit, I'd say over 10 years.
Fair play, mate. Feel good?
Yeah.
What are you now, 58?
I'm 58,
58. How you feeling in yourself?
Anchor's out, the handbrake's up, but I'm still getting dragged downhill slowly.
Feeling good?
I try and look after myself. Like, you know, I'm up in the woods, so I go out walking every day, and I watch what I eat and just try and live a bit clean, and healthy.
How do you want Micky Finn to be remembered?
I mean, if it went down that I can contribute to the scene, I'd be happy.
Yeah,
you know, I'd be an happy individual, because I just got a few little. And my counsellor, I went to see a counsellor for the best part of 2 years because of trauma as a kid, and she was the one that taught me that. She taught me that contribute or contaminate.
Yeah,
you know, and I try and if it's to the artist that we look after, if it's to the scene that we're involved in, helping, you know, with a merchandise thing now where we do other artists' merchandise for them. I just try and contribute and help rather than hurt.
Yeah, mate.
You know,
lovely.
I just try and if I can help, like I do, help a few artists out with a bit of knowledge and wisdom, or send them in the right direction where they can get even more professional help, like entertainment lawyers and so on, I will.
Yeah.
You know, I would strongly advise anyone. I'd see this so much of artists that are about to get into a record contract. Don't trust what that contract says.
Yeah.
I don't care who you think.
Yeah.
Go and get it looked at by a lawyer.
Yeah.
Because so many
get tied
men,
up,
women, or they get caught up in the excitement and they, it'll be all right, just sign it.
Yeah.
That is the worst thing to think.
Yeah.
If it means you've got to go and get your money out to show that to an entertainment lawyer to get touched up, or because I've worked with the same entertainment lawyer for ages, and I'll go, Paul, layman's terms, mate, what's that say?
What's the score? Yeah.
Because all that
jargon,
lawyer talk.
It just wrap you up. Wrap you up. Yeah.
You know, before you know it, you're signing your life away. Yeah. So I would strongly advise anyone, just go and get you checked out.
Yeah.
I mean, we have contracts at the agency. We have contracts but I always make sure that I just got to have the fairest contract possible. Because I've been that artist. I've been that DJ. So
too many have made those mistakes. For the sake of giving someone $2,000 or $1,000 or $3,000 to look over it, could save you a fortune in the long run. Yeah, mate, I've seen it. Yeah,
because they can have you wrapped up. They can have you wrapped up forever, and they don't want to sign your artist name. They want to sign your real name. So whatever artist that real name becomes,
it follows you.
They got you.
They got you. Mickey, I've absolutely loved this, mate.
Wow, that we over.
We're in an hour and 35. I think we can go on for hours, definitely.
Wow. Oh, mate, it's been great.
I know we could go on for more hours on this one.
Might have to be a part two.
Might have to be a part two. I'll ask him if you want a part two, leave a comment below. Mate, I've got to say, like, what a gentleman you are. From the moment we spoke to where we are today, we just hooked up, just got on bang on House on Fire straight away. Yeah,
we're just normal people, right?
Yeah, mate.
We're just normal people. We've been given a great career.
Yeah.
And I see so many artists come, have an attitude that stinks,
out
and gone.
Yeah, mate.
Like, just feet on the ground.
Yeah. Don't matter how big you get, keep your feet on the ground.
Yeah,
I've seen people change with money. That's one thing I really hate. Like they've started from nothing. They've grafted the way up. Whether you're a promoter, whether you're a DJ, they've started to get money and they start to change. That's one thing.
I've seen it, mate.
That's my biggest bugbear out of the whole industry of people changing. But the real ones who stay the same, it's lovely to see. You know,
it's money's not my king. Of course, it's not my king, and it is a lot of people.
It helps.
It
helps.
It helps. It's not. It's not the answer to happiness, you know, like I said before. And I have, along with you, I've seen so many people change, turn into absolute dicks because you got money.
Yeah.
But then you'll meet someone, I don't know, Roger Taylor, for instance.
Yeah.
Who,
didn't Roger Taylor come into your DJ box in Ibiza?
Yeah.
Tell me that.
So we'll end with that.
Yeah.
So
Roger Taylor from Queen, legend.
A good friend of mine, who I met through the Acid House scene. She was in Starlight Express. Really good friend of mine. She's best friends with Roger's wife.
Yeah.
Her husband was the person. He's a big promoter in England who done We Will Rock You.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm in Ibiza. CJ calls me, Mickey, are you in Ibiza? Yeah. I'm on my friend's boat. I'm on my friend's boat. Come to this dock at 6:30. I'm going to send a boat over to pick you up. And I said, okay, can I bring my partner, Darren? She went, yeah, you can bring Darren, yeah. So anyway, we go over to this jetty down near San Antonio, the harbour.
Yeah.
She sends a boat out, and we're on the boat with her, and we start driving towards this Cutty-Sart looking ship. And I went, we ain't going to that, are we? She went, yeah, that's my friend's boat. Big, huge, absolute beautiful. So we spent time on Roger's boat. Roger was the coolest person in the world. That attitude and that kind of energy, and people got money is what I want to be. Not because they got money.
Humble.
You would not know.
Yeah, mate, it's lovely.
I just I don't like people that flaunt it. I'm not into that, and you know. So anyway, we stayed on the boat for a few hours. This is why we was doing some beats. That night we had Eden. I said, CJ, can you get the boat to take us back to shore? I've got to go. We got to open Eden, and she went, yeah, we're all coming with you. And I was like, well, you want to come, Eden? And she went, yeah, can I get us a table? And I rung up, sorted them out a table. So we took the first part started. We all got off the boat. We've seen some ravers. So it's me, Darren, Roger Taylor, Roger Taylor's wife, Philip McIntyre, and CJ.
Yeah.
They're a couple. So we're walking along down the thing. Micky, some ravers, right? Micky, all right, can we get a photo? Give the camera to Roger Taylor. Seriously. I went, here, mate. Just give him, here, mate, do us a favour, take a photo. So I was like, oh, no. So then Roger Taylor's taking the photo. And then all of a sudden, they walked up and went, see you later, Grandad. And I was like, oh. And then they come into Eden with us. And first of all, they were standing behind the DJ booth, and I went on, and Serena, Roger's wife, was like, Micky, Roger wants to come in the DJ booth with you. And I was like, really? Like, you've seen the stages they do, right? Yeah. Can you come in the DJ booth with you? You've never seen anyone DJ, and he wants to see what it's all about. And I went, yeah, no problem. Yeah. So I'm DJing, Roger's standing behind me. Someone leads forward. Micky, who's the geezer behind you? Looks like the drummer out of Queen.
Somebody said that. Brilliant.
And roaring.
Brilliant.
And I just let forward. I went, have a good look. And he looked like that. He went, is that the fucking drummer out of Queen? Then I was laughing at him, and he was like, what the fuck did this drummer? Yeah. It was so funny. Yeah, but yeah.
Quality.
Roger was very welcoming, and
what a beautiful thing to say about him. Nice.
Yeah, I like, you know, when you meet people, it's like, oh, mate,
what's he going to be like? Or
just when they're just money orientated, money driven. Everything's about, like, you know, you met someone in an hour and like, oh yeah, I'll get my boots custom made, and like, if you say, man,
fuck, I'll do one.
I'm not interested.
Yeah, mate. One last question, Micky. Favourite club to play in Ibiza?
I love Eden. I love Eden. I mean, what I feel is a crying shame, because obviously I was going to Ibiza before the discount airlines started going in there, and before it started to. And I ain't got nothing against people that are on discount airlines, but I think they changed the dynamics of the island, and they made San Antonio a bit cancel. Yeah, and then it was like Bora Bora become where the whole of Ibiza was at the mindset of Bora Bora before. Yeah. You know, San Antonio weren't shit. Yeah. Or seen as shit. I really like Eden. It's just a shame that S Paradise, I think, is one of the most best design clubs in the world.
Love it.
If Pepe could just go, Pepe, sit at home. Yeah. Give us a lump of money to give it a refurb. Yeah. Because the only thing that's missing out there now is an Onyx phone and some flock wallpaper. Yeah. It just needs dragging into, as a building, I think it's...
I love the layout. Yeah, I love the layout. I love the layers. I just love everything about that club.
Yeah, it's a brilliant club. Yeah. It's a brilliant club, but we've battled with him to let us take extra sound in there.
He won't do it.
He let us in the end, because we basically went, look, your sound system, I don't care that it's all white and pretty. Yeah. It's not up to the job.
Enough, yeah.
It might have been all right in the 80s. Yeah. It's not all right now. Yeah. You know, we've got a lot of better systems out. But as a club, as a building, I think it's one of the most exceptional nightclubs I've ever been in.
Agree. Micky, this has been a blinder, mate. An absolute blinder.
Thank you.
Yeah, mate. Proper gentleman, mate. Proper gentleman. And you know what? Just what you were saying before, like on your tombstone, contributed. Like, you've massively contributed for the last 35 years in your industry. And you're here
It's killing me off as I leave.
I met with brown bread in the no, but I'm saying is, what I'm saying is you've massively contributed, and there's going to be people listening to this going, "That's the real Micky Finn." Wow, you know, and hopefully, people, if you love this, leave the comments below because Micky and I will be reading them straight away.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know when it's coming out, but I will.
Yeah, I understand. But then, if you fancy a part 2, we can have that as well because I know there's hundreds more stories here.
Brilliant.
Quality. You're a good man. Cheers, Micky. Much. Nice one for making the effort, mate.
Oh, you're welcome.
Good man.
It was all worth it.
Woo! Mate, that was really good.
By.
Mate, Aaron
flew by.
Flies, didn't it?
Yeah.
Mate, that was really good. And they're going to love that. Thanks for watching, guys. If you'd like to see someone on the show, leave a comment below. And if you haven't already, do us a favour, show us a bit of love, press the subscribe button, and it allows us to grow the show even bigger and bigger each week. Nice one.